Let me paint you a picture. There's someone sitting in an office right now, probably someone a lot like you. They show up early. They hit every deadline. Their numbers are clean, their work is sharp, and their manager has complimented them more than once in front of the entire team. By every visible measure, this person is doing everything right. And then one Tuesday morning, they get called into a meeting they weren't expecting. HR is there. Their manager is there. There's a folder on the table. 30 minutes later, they're walking out of the building with a box of their belongings, trying to figure out what just happened. No warning, no performance review, no written complaint. Just a quiet, clean exit that nobody fully explains. Here's the part that will stay with you. That person was one of the best employees that company had. And that's exactly why they got fired. Now I know that sounds backwards. It sounds like it contradicts everything you've been told about how work is supposed to operate. Work hard, perform well, deliver results. That's a formula, right? That's what your parents told you. That's what every career coach puts in their content. That's what the job description implied when you signed on. But here's the reality that almost nobody is willing to say out loud. Performance is only the surface layer of how workplaces actually function. Underneath it, running quietly in the background like a system you can't see but can absolutely feel, is something far more powerful, something far more human. And if you don't understand it, it will cost you, not because you're not talented, not because you're not working hard enough, but because you're playing one game while everyone else around you is playing a completely different one. That's what we're going to talk about today. And by the time this is over, the way you see your workplace will never be the same. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Every workplace, no matter the industry, no matter the size, no matter how modern or progressive the culture claims to be, operates on two levels simultaneously. The first level is the one you can see. Goals, metrics, deliverables, performance reviews, promotions. This is the official game, the one that gets talked about in meetings and written into job descriptions. Most people spend the majority of their energy here. The second level is the one nobody puts in writing. It's built on perception, ego, social positioning, and an invisible web of human dynamics that have nothing to do with the work itself. This is a real game, and this is the one that actually determines who stays, who rises, and who quietly disappears. The uncomfortable truth is this. In most organizations, the second level outweighs the first one by a significant margin. Think about it. You've probably already seen this. The person who gets promoted isn't always the most skilled person in the room. The employee who survives every round of layoffs isn't always the highest performer. And the person who gets let go, the one everyone is quietly shocked about, often had a track record that should have made them untouchable. That's not an accident. That's not random. That's the second level operating exactly as it was designed to. And the reason most people never see it coming is because nobody teaches you this. Not in school, not in your first job orientation, not in any leadership book that wants to keep things polished and professional. You're handed the official rule book and told to follow it, while the actual rule book, the one that matters, stays invisible. So let's make it visible. Here's the core of everything. Every single person in a position of authority, your manager, your director, your department head, your CEO, carries something with them that has nothing to do with their title or their experience. They carry an ego, and attached to that ego, quietly and constantly, are insecurities. Now, before you dismiss that as obvious, I want you to really sit with what that means in practice. Insecurity in a powerful person does not look the way most people imagine it. It doesn't look like nervousness or self-doubt. It doesn't look like someone who lacks confidence. In fact, it often looks like the opposite. It shows up as control, as credit-taking, as a subtle but consistent need to remain the most relevant, most respected, most visible person in the room. And here is where things get dangerous for high performers. When you do exceptional work, when the results you produce start drawing attention, when people start noticing your contributions, when your name comes up in conversations that use only include your manager's name, something shifts in the person above you. It's not a conscious decision. They're not sitting in their office plotting against you. It's far more subtle than that. It's a psychological response that happens below the surface. A quiet alarm that goes off when their sense of position feels threatened. A slow build of discomfort that they themselves might not even be able to name. But here is what that discomfort produces over time: resentment. And resentment left unaddressed becomes action. Sometimes it's a subtle reassignment. Sometimes it's being quietly left out of important conversations. Sometimes it's a performance review that feels oddly critical despite a year of strong results. And sometimes it's that Tuesday morning meeting with HR and a folder on the table. The high performer never saw it coming because they were focused on the work. They thought the work was the whole conversation. But the person above them was having a completely different conversation, one that was never spoken out loud. This is not about becoming less ambitious. This is not about shrinking yourself or pretending to be less capable than you are. This is about understanding that human beings, regardless of their title or their experience, respond to perceived threats. And sometimes excellence reads as a threat. The people who navigate this successfully are not the ones who work less. They are the ones who understand this dynamic and factor into how they operate. They make their wins feel collaborative. They direct credit upward and outward. They let the people above them feel ownership over shared success, not because they're being dishonest, but because they understand that perception shapes reality in ways that performance alone never can. Now let's talk about something practical, because here's what I've observed working with people on human behavior for years. The warning signs are almost always there. They appear well before anything official happens. The problem is that most people either don't notice them, or they notice them and talk themselves out of trusting what they're seeing. So let's walk through what these signals actually look like. The first one is a shift in tone. Not content, tone. Your manager used to respond to your emails with a certain warmth, a certain openness. Now the responses are shorter, more clipped, still professional, still polite, but something in the texture has changed. There's a coolness that wasn't there before. Most people rationalize this. They tell themselves the manager is busy, stressed, dealing with something unrelated. Sometimes that's true, but when it's consistent, when the shift doesn't correct itself, it means something. The second signal is exclusion from conversations. You stop being looped in on certain discussions. Meetings happen that you would previously have been included in. Decisions get made without your input being sought, even in areas where your input was once considered valuable. This is not accidental. Exclusion is a form of repositioning. Someone is quietly redrawing the lines around your relevance. The third signal is the absence of friction. This one surprises people. When a manager or colleague stops challenging your ideas, stops engaging with your proposals, stops pushing back on anything you bring forward, that silence is not approval. In many cases, it means they've already emotionally checked out of investing in you. They've stopped seeing you as someone worth engaging with, because in their mind, the relationship is already winding down. The fourth signal is body language in group settings. Where does your manager look when you speak in a meeting? Do they make eye contact? Do they nod, engage, respond? Or do their eyes move elsewhere? Do they physically turn toward other people while you're still talking? The body communicates what the words are carefully avoiding. And if you start paying attention to these nonverbal cues, you'll get more accurate information than anything that gets said in a one-on-one conversation. The key is to observe without becoming paranoid. You're not looking for reasons to be suspicious of everyone. You're simply staying calibrated, staying aware of the social environment around you the same way you stay aware of the work environment. Both are real. Both matter. So what do you actually do with all of this? Because knowledge without strategy is just anxiety. So let's talk about how genuinely strong performers protect themselves and position themselves intelligently without compromising who they are or what they're capable of. The first shift is this: stop thinking about your work as something you produce alone and start thinking about it as something you produce within a social ecosystem. Every result you deliver exists inside a web of relationships. How that result lands, who gets credit for it, how it reflects on people around you, all of that shapes how your work is actually received, regardless of its quality. This doesn't mean handing your credit away. It means being strategic about how credit is framed. When you complete something significant, find genuine ways to acknowledge the people who enabled that success. Your manager gave you the resources. A colleague provided key input. The team created the environment. None of that diminishes your contribution. It expands a circle of ownership. which is exactly what diffuses the threat response in insecure people above you. The second shift is becoming genuinely curious about the people around you, not as a manipulation tactic, as a real practice. What does your manager care about most right now? What pressures are they facing that you might not fully see? What does success look like from their position? When you understand what someone needs, you stop accidentally working against their interests while trying to advance your own. The third shift is learning to read your environment as a continuous stream of information. Every interaction is data. Every behavioral pattern tells you something about the person behind it. The more fluent you become at reading people, not judging them, reading them, the fewer surprises you will encounter, because the surprises are almost never truly sudden. They were signaled. You just have to know what to look for. And the fourth shift, possibly the most important one, is trusting your instincts when something feels off. Human beings are wired for social perception. We pick up on shift in energy, changes in warmth, subtle withdrawals of trust. We sense these things before we can consciously explain them. The problem is that most of us have been trained to override that instinct with logic and rationalization. Stop doing that. When something feels wrong about a dynamic, take that feeling seriously. Investigate it quietly. Adjust your approach, because your gut is often processing information that your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. Being exceptional at your work is not enough. It has never been enough on its own. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop being blindsided by outcomes that feel unfair, but were actually predictable. The workplace is a human environment, and human environments are governed by human psychology, by ego, by insecurity, by the need for relevance and respect. These forces don't disappear because the setting is professional. They don't get switched off because there are goals to hit and deadlines to meet. They run underneath all of it, shaping every decision, every relationship, every outcome. The people who thrive long-term are not just the most skilled, they are the most aware. They understand the full game, not just a visible layer, but the invisible one. They know how to perform at a high level while simultaneously managing the human dynamics around that performance. That is not cynicism. That is clarity. And clarity, real clarity about how people actually operate, is one of the most powerful professional tools you will ever develop. So keep doing great work. But start paying attention to the room you're doing it in, because in the end, both things matter. And the ones who understand that are the ones who never have to wonder why they got that unexpected Tuesday morning meeting. Stay sharp.